Hello, my name is Vincent. I'm a producer here at Black Label Music, and today I'm talking to Kerry from Bad Bad Hats. Do you want to say hi to this camera real quick?
Hello, it is me, Kerry. I sing, I play guitar, and I write the songs for the indie rock band Bad Bad Hats.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, can you first just tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, how you got into music, and what you're currently doing as a musician?
Yes, we were just talking off the camera.
Off the camera.
Off
Secrets.
record. But I will now put on the record that yes, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. I went to high school in Tampa, Florida. And I think like it's like the classic story that lots of musicians say. It's like I grew up surrounded by music. Like my mom plays viola. And there's like a piano in our house, and she also plays piano. And my parents just love music, so we'd always have there's like a Bose CD player in the kitchen. So like whenever we'd make dinner, there's always music happening.
Yeah,
like,
that's sweet.
So it's just like I feel like music was ingrained in my life from a young age. I played violin and piano. But I always think about when Michelle Branch released The Spirit Room in like 2001, maybe. I loved pop music, and I was obsessed with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls and Britney Spears. But I think when I heard Michelle Branch, it was like I could hear those pop melodies that I really loved, but sort of being presented to me via a songwriter, like a singer-songwriter persona. And I think that's when it clicked with me that I could take on that role myself. So yeah, I just started writing lyrics at first, and then I learned how to play guitar, and just wrote so many songs in my bedroom. But we were just talking about how I never actually went to any shows. The concept of a local music scene was not something I was aware of. So I didn't start going to shows until I moved to the Twin Cities to go to college. And that's when I met my band. I had never played in a band before. So everything really came together for me.
Totally.
When I moved here. And yeah, I met my bandmates, started going to a lot of shows, started playing a lot of shows. And at this point, we're like 13 years into the band.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing. So when you first started writing and playing music, what were kind of like some difficulties of doing that? Like when you first song you wrote, what did you realize was harder than you thought it would be?
That's a great question. I think for me, and maybe I didn't even realize it at the time, was like writing a catchy melody.
Yeah.
I loved like poetry, and I loved rhyming and like sort of like the game of making everything rhyme.
Yeah.
But some of my early songs were just like 12 verses.
Nice.
But like absolutely no hook in sight. Just lots of words, and sort of meandering vocals. I was new to singing though at the time, so I think that's part of it. And also weirdly, I like really wanted to. It was hard for me to write an upbeat song when I first started. Like probably just because I wasn't good enough at guitar. But I loved the band Letters to Cleo when I was young, and they just really rock. And also, I was really into a lot of the pop punk music of the early 2000s.
Totally.
And I was like, I don't understand like how to play in a way that sounds like rock music. And that really frustrated me. Yeah.
So do you know how to now? Like, how did that develop? How did you like figure that out?
I like to think so. I think honestly the power chord was the thing that unlocked it for me.
Okay.
And now I think the power chord is sort of crucial to the Bad Bad Hats sound.
Totally. So when you're like writing catchy melodies now, do you have like methods to do it, or do you just kind of like feel it out and see what works?
I do sort of feel like the muse is strong for me. Like I do really believe, and I think most songwriters have this experience where you're like, I don't know where that came from. But it just started happening. So it's often like that. But I think one thing, I mean, this sounds very like obvious, but a lot of the times, like if we have like a chord progression going or we're starting to work on a song, you'll come up with a riff on the guitar or on the piano.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to realize that could be a vocal melody instead of just like a guitar melody. Cause I'd be like, ooh, I like this melody. I like this melody. I like this melody. And it's like, well, like these can't all be happening at one time.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, but like this melody could be the verse and this melody could be the pre-chorus.
Yeah,
and like,
absolutely.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so when you started this group, Bad Bad Hats with Chris, right? Can you just like take us back to when that first started and what made you decide to start the group together? Also, how did y'all like origin story of you guys meeting? Like, if you can go through that as well.
I would love to. Yes, we met at McAllister College in St. Paul, Minnesota. We were both musicians in our own way. I was writing a lot of songs and recording in GarageBand and playing open mic nights at the coffee shop on the corner. And Chris had played in like a cover band in high school and had been doing a lot of recording himself and writing songs and working on music. And we both had music up on MySpace.com because that's where you put music.
Of course.
In the year 2009.
Still today, you could put. No, I'm joking.
Try it out, everyone.
Do they still have MySpace?
I think the website is gone. I sadly.
Darn.
So all that work is just in the ether. But we're aware of each other. We had mutual friends. And I'm not sure. I kind of, at this point, I kind of can't remember if I was looking to have a band or what I really wanted. Because I was pretty happy being just like a solo artist. And I would also put songs on like SoundCloud and stuff and got like a pretty good response. And and I enjoyed recording in GarageBand myself. But I wrote a song that was a duet. I like wanted to have another voice. And I was like, I don't know who to ask about this. And my friend Lily was like, oh, you should ask Chris. Like, he'll do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know that much about him, but like, I'll ask him. And then basically we fell in love is what really happened. And we started dating and just like connected instantly, especially because of our mutual love of music and making music. So it was very obvious early on that we would like collaborate musically. So yeah, our senior year, we were like, okay, I think we should start a band and we should make music together. And our friend Noah, we met him. He transferred to McAllister our senior year. And we enlisted him to play bass. And then it was like we had this power trio and we just started playing shows. And yeah, we played the McAllister Battle of the Bands.
I love it.
Was our second show, which we lost.
I'm sorry.
But it's okay because one of the judges ran like a small label in town and he signed us to his label.
Really?
The week after the Battle of the Bands. So we were
amazing.
On a roll at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you already seeing some success before you put the band together, or what was that looking like? You said you had a good response when you're putting things online.
Yeah.
But like, how good of a response? And was it like sort of the beginnings of like a possible career, or did you have to like really wait until you got signed after the Battle of the Bands to like really take off?
Yeah.
Is that a cohesive question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But it's something I haven't really reflected on, but like in the because this is all before obviously TikTok, Instagram. I mean, I think Instagram was like brand new, like my senior year of college, which is bizarre for me to even think about now because it's so ubiquitous in all of our lives. But the thought of like a viral singer-songwriter person was like kind of only like a once in a lifetime thing, like on YouTube. Like Justin Bieber did it, and like that was kind of it. And also like reality singing shows were kind of the only other like straight to stardom thing that was like a thing at the time. But it was a golden age for music blogs and like small publications online talking about music and writing about music. And like Hype Machine was really big at the time. And if one of your songs like on SoundCloud got boosted up on Hype Machine, I was like, oh my gosh. So in that way, like there were avenues to sort of like, become known on the internet. And I did not experience anything like that, but SoundCloud was like a fairly fruitful ground for random people hearing your music. Yeah. And it was nothing like out of control, but for me, just being in my like bedroom uploading songs, you know, like even just like 100 people or something having listened to it was like, whoa, like that's wild
Yeah.
that anyone's hearing these songs. So I was getting like like even in my small way, I was getting like positive reinforcement from
Totally.
the internet. And then I played open mic nights, and like every open mic night, if one person was like, I really like that, I'm like, okay, maybe I got something here.
Yeah.
And there was like an American Idol esque competition like at McAllister,
Yeah.
that I like won. And so that was like, okay,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, thank you.
Congratulations.
So there are little things like that I was like, okay, I keep getting like little signs that's like,
Yeah.
maybe this is kind of working out. Like maybe this is kind of cool. Maybe people are into my songs. But yeah, so I was definitely like, yeah, I can see this is going somewhere. But I really do think that looking back, getting signed to that little label was a very like clarifying, like, okay, like we are on a path, like someone's going to put out our record. Like this all has a more concrete like meaning.
Yeah.
Not that you always need that. Like you don't need people like outside sources to give you that all the time. But I think for us, it was like, okay, like I guess we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you don't always need outside sources to do that. So like, were there any moments where you were like, you didn't have any like sort of outside source like pushing you forward, that you had to like turn more inward and like you'd be like, I need to do this because it needs to continue happening because I want it to happen. Were there any moments like that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I definitely am a kind of personality that really likes those outside sources. So
Yeah.
I get it. Everyone who may be listening who is like, but I want those A pluses in life. Like,
Yeah.
that's me as well. But I do think that, like, it has to go hand in hand though with like a love of the craft.
Yeah.
I just think I talked to a lot of bands and people, and especially like younger people who are so ingrained in like the TikTok world and like the Instagram world and like
Yeah.
content, who feel very like stressed out by it and like burned out by it. Not all of them. Like some people are really amazing at it, and that's wonderful. But I just feel like whenever anyone asks me like what my advice is for people coming up in the industry, it's just like make sure you still like the part that's writing the songs
Yeah.
and like making the music. Because that's going to be the constant no matter what, you know, like even if things are down or up, like you always have that thing to come back to.
Totally.
So I do think that that has been constant for me, that like that's still the thing that it's my job, but it's also my hobby. It's like also the thing that I just like enjoy doing in my free time.
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful for.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys started the band before the whole social media like you know, all of Instagram, TikTok, and all this stuff like became like the way to do it.
Yes.
So how was it like going from pre-TikTok to currently post or whatever? We're in the middle of the TikTok era. So how was that like sort of transition for you guys, and like what was difficult about going from that to this? And were you disappointed when you were like, oh, I gotta do TikTok? You know?
Well, like it is funny, like yeah, I mean, obviously, like I talked about MySpace earlier, like there were internet things where it's like, oh, like you should do this thing because like maybe, just maybe you'll be the person who like gets to be famous like from this like platform. And SoundCloud was a little bit like that, and Facebook was the biggest thing when we first started.
Totally.
Like you always had to have a Facebook event like for every show you played, and you're trying to get your Facebook follows up. But it is funny to like have been through several eras where it's like, you know, like now it really doesn't matter who's watching you on MySpace because the website doesn't exist anymore. So I think that's given us a little bit of like all these things are ephemeral and like fleeting, and
Yeah.
they are important in their moment. Like
Yeah.
there's no
Totally.
denying like what TikTok is doing for artists. Um, but also I think we have had the experience of like, but sometimes those things go away. So like,
Mhm.
how do you balance what those platforms can give to you in terms of marketing and reach, but also how do you survive without them if
Yeah.
something happens to them?
Totally.
But it has been difficult. Like I think just the changing parameters of like, oh, like now, like this is where everyone is. So you have
Mhm.
to try to reach them over here, or like now this is what everyone is looking at to be a sign of your success. Um, and I think sometimes we have like a better sense of that than others. Like a lot of bands who are our age, and who have been in the industry a while, like just don't even use TikTok, like for better or for worse. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I feel like, oh, it's like, are we just selling ourselves short by not using that? Or is it more um like actually like authentic to ourselves to not use those things because it's like we've never used it, like it's not our vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I have a lot of those questions like all the time of like, should I be using this, or like is it just weird for me to use this because
Yeah.
I'm just like not of that generation? But I don't know, like there's good and bad to all of it, and like there always has been.
Totally.
And there's always going to be the next thing that's like we all clamor to try to get on. But because ultimately it's all about connection, and
Yeah.
that's what we're all trying to do, and we're just trying to get people to hear our song. So if you find a way to do that, then I think that's wonderful.
Totally.
Yeah.
So for you guys, like, what's been the best way to connect with new people and like to maintain the connection?
I think for us, it's honestly just been playing shows, like
Yeah.
showing up in the city, and playing the music and standing at the merch table after the show and like
Yeah.
meeting people. That's not always possible for everyone for many reasons, like financially or just time wise. So we've been grateful that we've been able to tour so much and do that. But yeah, to me, that's always been going straight to the source.
Yeah.
Has always
Straight to
been
the source. Yeah.
has always been like the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just getting out of the internet and being in front of people. It's
Okay.
just there's nothing like it, you
Totally.
know.
So when you guys are touring, do you like how do you guys balance touring and being creative? Do you guys like take time when you're touring and on the road to like be creative, or do you kind of like wait for that to be done so you can, do that from home
Yeah.
more often? How do you guys balance that?
I'm definitely more of the latter
Yeah.
one. I find it difficult. I mostly find it difficult to be creative when I'm not alone. Like I
Yeah.
kind of need solitude to really be creative. Like I find on tour, I'll write a few lyrics or something, or every once in a while we have a really long drive and I'll like pull up GarageBand on my iPad or
Yeah.
something, get a beat going.
Hey.
But like I
Get a
like
beat going.
I generally cannot write like a whole song on
Yeah.
tour. It's
Yeah.
just because it's too, you like are just never alone.
Yeah.
And you never really have time. Like there was a while where our former drummer is also a songwriter,
Yeah.
and he was really looking for a creative outlet on tour. And I was like, well, okay, like he's looking for that. I could try to do more of that. So we would bring a tiny acoustic guitar with us on tour just so we had something to like strum and play. And a few times that was kind of nice. Like I have some voice memos in my phone where I can tell I'm in the green room, like strumming the acoustic
Yeah.
guitar, but it was never, I don't know. It was never that
That makes sense.
productive.
So why do you think that you prefer solitude when you're creating music?
I just think like I personally like need a little bit of that, like it's so vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's mostly the lyrics and like the melody side, like the really early stages. It's just kind of embarrassing sometimes when you're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out and like you don't have it quite yet. So it's like
That makes
I
sense.
like to be able to just sort of try stuff uninhibited,
Yeah.
alone. But then once I have the song, then I'm very excited to be in a room with other people and come up with ideas.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, how far do you get a song before you bring it to your band to develop more?
Usually I have like the structure, like the whole, or like I know I have like a verse chorus, like whatever.
Yeah,
So like the chord progression, all the melodies, all the lyrics, basically like what I refer to as like the open mic night version of the
yeah,
song. So like I could play it all the way down on my acoustic guitar.
yeah,
That's usually the version I have. But every once in a while, I'll just have like a chord progression or um like a melody idea, and Chris and I will just like jam in the basement.
that
And
makes
so
sense.
like I'll get his input on the drums first, or I'll get his input on kind of the arrangement of the song, and then I'll take that and write the lyrics and the melody.
Okay,
But it's usually I've written the song in its most basic form
yeah,
first. Yeah.
that makes sense. So, how do you like, how do you navigate? I don't know. I mean, first of all, do you guys have a lot of creative differences in your group, or is it kind of just like everybody's on the same page all the time? And if you do have creative differences, like, how do you navigate those?
Yeah. I think within like Chris and I, we're pretty much in agreement most of the time.
Yeah,
Um, but like for a long time, and it's to this day, we work with a guy named Brett Bullion. He's mixed like every record we've made since the first full length, and he produced 3 of our records.
yeah,
Um, and he and us like have very different sets of like musical influences.
yeah,
Which is amazing because it's just like he hears things and has ideas that we would never have just
Yeah.
because we don't have the same frame of reference. So definitely early on, especially when we were like, 24 or something, Brett would present us with ideas and we'd be like, I don't know about that. Like, I've never
Yeah.
heard of such a thing in my life. But being open to being like, all right, well, like,
Yeah.
we hired you because we trust you, was just so enlightening and like just expanded our, the possibilities of what our songs could be in such a beautiful way. But there would be conflict because it's like defensiveness and fear and like, it's like, well, this is my song and like I hear it one way in my head. So when someone presents you a different path,
Yeah.
it can be like, I don't know about that. But I'm grateful for those challenges.
Yeah.
Because in some ways I do feel like it has made like the Bad Bad Hats like sound. It's like the place where we collided with Brett, has created something like really amazing. But yeah, but it's a vulnerable thing
Yeah.
to work on music with other people, especially when it's like your story, like lyrically. It's hard to feel like, well, you guys don't know because like this came from my heart
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
mind. But people they do, like people you trust and who trust you, like they do get it, and they also are just wanting the best for the song. So
Totally.
yeah.
Okay. How has your creative process and your creativity, just like as an artist, changed from when you started Bad Bad Hats to now?
It's like mostly the same. Like I still just sit on my couch and play my classical guitar
Yeah.
and like write that way. And I have 1,000 million voice memos, like all of my peers, and notebooks filled with lyric ideas and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think the main thing that's changed is I used to write all the lyrics first.
Yeah.
I would just come up with lyric ideas and write them down, then try to sort of figure it out later. As I've gone on, I'm much more likely to write the vocal melody, first, and then come up with lyrics like based around the melody. But otherwise, yeah, we're still kind of doing the same stuff.
Nice. Okay. Tight. So, how do you think that your style as a musician is unique?
I mean, in some ways, like, I mean, I know it is unique. Like we sound like ourselves. But I also don't think we're like reinventing the wheel. Like we do just like writing pop songs.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it is just my like voice, both like my physical voice and like my creative voice, like lyrically, like is will always just be something that stands apart. um I do think that like we have a penchant for um we have a true dedication to writing songs that we think are catchy.
Yeah.
Um
Nice.
so which, you know, again, is not like unique. I mean, I think that's a lot of the work that people are doing, but it maybe is more stands out a bit more like in the indie world or something where um maybe there's sort of like a more prioritization of like um the lyrics or like the production or, you know, sort of like making art. Like I think we'll always just the Baba Hats vision is always kind of like leaning towards like how do we get this melody like stuck in people's heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I also think like we just do try to push ourselves to, and mostly because of Brett's influence actually, to like try stuff that feels like a little out of left field, like different tones or different ways of playing an instrument. And I'm so grateful that he sort of instilled that in us. And that's, you know, it's not to be like, why do we have to do this? Like, why do we have to make the drums sound crazy? Like, let's just play the drums. But like, it's just, it opens up your mind when you allow yourself to, yeah, try something different and hear a different tone and hear a beat played a different way. It just sort of sets you on a new path. And so it's sort of like a never ending inspiration feedback loop, which is great. So yeah, we're not the most unique band in the world, but we got a few little things I think that set us apart.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, what has contributed most to you guys' success songwriting wise? Like what do you think like has really been the thing that sticks with people the most?
I hope that it is one that like my sort of love for a more pop like melody writing. I do have a penchant for like more upbeat songs
Yeah.
that like, you know, there's always something like fun. I just love writing love songs.
Yeah.
So I also hope that, you know, the people who are like me, who love a love song, love driving around with the windows down, pining for someone, hear that in my songs and, you know, are putting it on a mix CD for their crush. And
oh,
so,
that's sweet. That's sweet.
I hope for that connection, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is one of my final questions,
Okay.
but if you have any advice, what would be your advice for any like artist, musician who's trying to like do a similar thing to what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like one thing I always say is, and I'm suffer from this too, but the compare and despair thing, was just so easy to do, especially with the internet.
Yeah.
But you really just like, it's really pointless because truly like almost everyone I know, who's had success, like took a different path to get to where they are.
Yeah.
Like there's overlap in that, like they're good at what they do and they work hard. But outside of that, like there are so many twists and turns that get you to where you are. So I think just being confident in that your journey won't look like someone else's journey, and you'll have your own successes and your own failures.
Totally.
But the thing that is similar amongst all the people I know who are doing this for a living, is that they still have a joy for the craft.
Yeah.
I think also like they surround themselves with people who inspire them and who like lift them up.
Yeah.
I think that's like so important. Like a lot. I mean, I can be a solitary artist sometimes. but it's just, I think without Chris, like, I'm not sure I would be here. So just to have one other person to sort of share in the experience and be like, this is wild, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we do it? It's so helpful. But yeah, just keep doing it. I also think it's kind of like sort of patience is crucial.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have any projects that you're allowed to talk about that you're currently working on and excited about?
Yes.
You don't have any like NDAs? I don't want you to break an NDA
No,
for
no.
this.
I don't have any of
We
those.
don't break NDAs on the
No.
Black Label Show.
That's right. Well, so
That's right.
Bad Hats. We're working on our 5th album.
Amazing.
Diligently. But also we in terms of like, per my point about making music with people who lift you up and inspire you, we started actually a new side project band with our friend Alana, who's been a longtime friend of ours. She writes under the name Party Nails and performs under the name Party Nails. Party Nails and Bad Hats have basically come together in a super group that we call Mega Sound.
Hey.
And we're basically writing all the songs that sound like the rock songs of the early 2000s that we grew up on, like the Hives and Yeahs and that kind of thing. So yeah, we're just reliving our glory days of our youth together, writing rock songs. And that's been amazing. And that album is done. So I hope that it starts rolling out soon for the people.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tour dates coming up you want to announce?
Yes, I guess. I don't know when this is going to come out, Vinny, but
probably like a month. So it's going to be a little bit.
So we actually, we probably will have tour dates at some point, though I don't know what they are yet, but they will be related to our debut album, Psychic Reader, turns 10 this year.
Oh, hey.
So we're doing a little 10th anniversary celebration. We got some cool surprises in store.
Exciting.
So the people should stay tuned for more on that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all I have for you. So thank you for coming in. I'm going to say goodbye to this camera. Oh, first of all, will you tell people where they can find you online?
Yes. If you want to find Bad Hats, more about what we do, you can go to badbadhats.com. But also, streaming services, Instagram, we're on there. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Thank you guys. My name is Vinny. Once again, this is Kerry from Bad Hats. Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching or listening, and catch you next time. I've never been good at that.
No, that was great.